If you want to paint a portrait of your beloved pet so good that it would feel like he or she is about to jump out of the paper, I've got some tips for you. First and foremost, nail the pencil sketch. Even though the portrait is in watercolor, if the sketch is off, your painting will suffer as well. Sketch is the foundation on which the whole artwork stands. You still can paint an amazing watercolor portrait, it just won't be the pet you were trying to portray. After painting dozens of pet portraits for clients, I've created a system for myself to achieve lifelike realism of the animals I paint, and customers couldn't have been happier. So, my personal best 4 secrets of realistic watercolor pet portraits. Winning photo reference. Perfect pencil sketch. Iconic pet feature. Plenty of time for watercolor. And now let's look into each of them. Photographing your pet for future painting is better than searching for a reference from existing images because not every awesome photo makes a good painting. You will be surprised how your dog curled under a table looks cute in a photo, but absolutely weird in a painting. Photos from top are lovely, but this angle in a painting will look awkwardly flat. When taking a photo of the pet for the potential artwork, you need to keep in mind how this pose or angle will look on paper. It is all about perspective. Aim to photograph your pet at eye level and from a 3/4 angle. Also try to avoid close-up shots where the face looks larger than the body due to the perspective distortion. On a photo, it's quite interesting, but on the painting, weird. If your dog or a cat has a long nose, a 3/4 angle looks better than a full-face portrait. Flat-nosed breeds, on the contrary, look better in a full-face angle. At the end of the day, the angle is rather your personal preference, and I often pick a photo reference where I feel the animal's personality opens up the most and consider the turn of their head after. In this portrait, I picked a client's photo with a close-up face looking straight into the camera because this is the feature of Gemma. She's an Instagram and TikTok star. This is how people know her, and so that's why I picked this photo over a more traditional image. Do not worry if the whole body doesn't fit into the shot. Our primary focus is on the face. Details on the eyes, nose, mouth, the ears. For the same reason, ignore your photo's background. My portraits by default have white backgrounds to not distract from the subject in the center and keep a minimalistic style to fit in any home. But as artists, we can add any background we want with paint, so stressing out about background on the photo is quite pointless. Now I will ask Kaiju to pose for a photo. He's a shiba, so he doesn't really like to obey. That's why I've got some treats in my left hand while holding a phone with an open camera app in my right. I lower myself down to be on the same level as my dog so that the shot is not taken from the top. I'll call his name and keep the tree slightly above my head. This will give me a nice turn of head up and look relatively into the camera. First, I take a few shots and only then release a treat as we don't need the chewing portrait. If you don't like the photo, you can wait till the dog has finished his food and try again. For more interesting angles, you can ask your dog to lie down, turn your phone upside down for an interesting shot and take a few pics like that. Using live mode on iPhone can be beneficial if your pet moves a lot. This way, even if the photo turns out blurry, you can still pick a better shot in the live mode. Also, if you're curious, you can download my absolutely free to use pet photography guide made for portrait artists. The link is in the description, no email sign up needed. Pencil sketch is the part where I spend a lot of time. I went through lots of hoops to figure out my own ways of drawing the portrait the best way. To clarify, I'm a watercolor artist, but drawing is a different discipline and I'm not so good at it. While there are methods and hours of practice that can be offered to you by art schools, I can offer you my own tips to draw an accurate portrait even if you don't know how to draw. Mostly, it is about double-checking yourself a lot. First and foremost, composition. I got myself into trouble a few times drawing a face and all of the details and even shadows to later wake up and notice that the face was actually not in the center. While the golden rule is important in landscapes and still life, in pet portraits, where the pet is the main focal point, we want to keep their face exactly in the center. How do we know where the face will end up if we start drawing from the eye, for example? Well, lots of artists will tell you to first draw the main circle of the face to place it in the right position on paper, and then fill in the eyes, nose, and so on. I do not like that approach because even with that, I still not always get the proportions of the head right. I pick something from the face that will serve me as a measurement tool. Usually it's an eye. And then I measure how many eyes fit in the face moving to the right, and then I measure the length of the face moving down. Now I have a clear understanding of the proportions of the face because my measurement tool is directly related to the subject. Now the initial advice with the approximate oval makes more sense when we can measure the width and length of that oval with our perfect tool, the eye. I will use the eye every time I need to double check myself. The distance between the eyes themselves, the distance between the nose and chin, the length of ears, the length of the whole face from top to bottom. Next bulletproof tool, parallels. When your job sketch is ready, you can check yourself by drawing a virtual or even physical line from one point to another. For example, if I'm not sure that the nose is in the correct place, maybe it needs to shift a bit. In my photo reference, I can draw a line from the place I know for sure is well measured and correct, like the eyes for example, down, and see what part of the nose it will hit. Then compare it with my sketch. It will give me a precise location of the nose relative to the eyes. You can use Photoshop to place lines all over the photo at the main points of the portrait to help yourself see those parallels. Next, take a picture of your drawing and look at it in a mirror in a reflection. Both will immediately reveal mistakes in your sketch. I also like to take a photo of my sketch and quickly drop it on the reference to have both images in one place and look for the differences. Finally, you can always just trace your reference directly on watercolor paper if you don't want to bother with the sketching part. I explained in detail how to do that in this video. Every pet has its iconic feature. Maybe that tiny wrinkle or quirky smile or special shape of the eyes. Catching that little signature in your sketch and in the painting later will guarantee 50% of success, as it is something that makes this pet recognizable. When you paint your own pet, you know better what makes him or her recognizable. But if it's a commission, don't be shy to ask for at least 5-6 photos or 10 of the pet in different settings and different lighting. This will provide more information for you about the colors, the code, the details of the animal that you are about to paint. By the way, I think Kaiju's feature is the shape of his eyes, which helped me make this recognizable portrait. Well, this is the simple part. Just relax and take your time. Painting pet portraits, I take my sweet time working on eyes and on the layers. I can go as far as 5 layers of watercolor to achieve the desired tone depth. This is what creates volume and 3-dimensionality on paper. To do that, you would need 100% cotton paper, as it can handle multiple layers without any problem, as opposed to cellulose paper. It also absorbs water deep into its layers and allows you to achieve soft color transitions without connecting lines or sharp edges, which are common to cellulose paper. However, this is all about your personal style and choice, and maybe sharp edges is your signature. And here we go, my 4 secrets to painting realistic pet portraits.